Well, hello everyone. I apologize for starting late tonight, but we were trying to get everybody's issues fixed. Coming into the studio. Excuse me. Yeah. So we are doing Pearl's Paranormal tonight, and thankfully for tomorrow night's show, um, we will be in our um old studio again. Yeah, regular studio again. Someone Terry. Okay, come on in, Terry. All right, we got Terry there. He's coming in, and Kathy is in. So let me just go ahead and bring in everybody that's here now. Tim was having some issues. I know Kathy is fine. Her volume and everything is great. Hi, Kathy.
I'm glad to be back after a break here.
Yeah,
Not
you're
intentional, but
in Georgia snowed in vacation,
yeah,
right?
yes.
Yeah, so we got Terry here. Tim, I don't know if we can get him in, if his volume is working yet, but Tim is in the studio. He'll be working on his volume. We're going, but we're going to work it and do what we can. I'm trying to see. There we go. I was trying to get us squared away there, and we are squared.
Good.
And Ziggy cannot get in. His computer died. So
Yes,
everybody's having a
what it
little
is.
everybody's having a little difficulty. Tim, did you get your volume done? Can you hear us yet? I guess he can't. So Kathy, you and
Yes.
I you and I might be running the show and just
Okay.
talking off the cuff until Tim can get his microphone to work where he can hear us. So and then maybe our guests will get in too. Terry was in, our guest, and he just popped out. Um,
Okay.
so let's start talking about him while he's the guest is trying to get back into the studio. I think that everybody, I put in my comments when I advertised on the billboard. Why would I have a musician on a paranormal show? Oh, wow, good question. And I told you guys to tune in tonight to find out. And I believe, to my understanding, that it's his compositions, his music that has a little bit connection to the paranormal or the do you believe type things, right, Kathy? Am
That's
I
correct.
correct or am I wrong?
You are totally correct there, Emily. Yeah, Terry Draper was part of a group called Klaatu. It's Klaatu, and they did the song for Karen Carpenter and her brother, and it was called All Interplanetary Craft. So
Ah,
that's why. And now his new album that just came out in November, I believe, also has something around that type of area. It talks everything about Mayans to Atlantis. So, yes, you pegged it right there, Emily.
yeah. And so, that's very rare to find a musician that, we hear the music when we see the movies and when we watch the series, but it's rare that people will just actually focus in on the composers of this great music,
Right.
and that's why I wanted him to come onto our paranormal show so that he could tell us all about how do you get in the mood. Do these things just pop into your mind, or do you have to get into a zone, or how do you get out there in another dimension to write that non-dimensional type music and melodies and tunes. So tell
Mhm.
us, Kathy, the part that you know about him,
Well,
because you've known him for a while, right?
Well, I did have him on the Plastic EP show. We interviewed him, Plastic EP and I, in Melbourne, Australia. That was back about 2 or 3 years ago. And the Plastic EP, he loves like conspiracy things about the Beatles. He has a lot has to do with he has the monkeys, the Beatles, but the Beatles. Remember how they used to have all these hidden messages and their pictures, and then there was even something that someone was dead and they weren't, and all that. So yeah, so Plastic EP was asking Terry questions about how was he the replacement Beatle band at one time, Terry. And I can't remember exactly what Terry said, but he did have a comeback answer for that. So he said he sounded a little bit like Paul McCartney.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm looking and checking that we are live, and we are. And Terry was there. It's showing that he's in the Facebook, but he's not in the studio. Um, hmm.
He
I don't.
was. He left, I guess.
He
I don't know.
was in the studio and he left. Okay, so this like the Facebook is like delayed. Okay, no problem. So because we are like 6 minutes into, and I think the studio is picking up. Oh, I think that's Tim that's showing.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Well, I'm just seeing you and I, but
Mhm.
in the studio, nobody's behind stage. Okay, yeah, okay, there he is. This is Tim coming in now. I know it was showing like three people, right? And so here
Yeah,
he is
at the
now.
beginning. Oh,
Can you hear us now, Tim?
No, can't
yeah,
hear you.
I can hear you.
He still
We
can't
can
hear
hear
us.
you.
Yeah,
Okay, what a
we can hear you.
dilemma.
Well,
As
we're gonna do the best that we can.
okay.
Kathy and I will go ahead and talk about Terry, I guess,
Mhm.
as much as we can, and then if we have to, we'll just pop off to another paranormal topic, right? If I guess
Yeah,
doesn't make it in,
right,
because we wanted to go ahead and still have the show in the studio because it was scheduled in the studio, and we didn't know until yesterday because I had to test our regular studio. Yesterday, I did a temporary Facebook check live stream, no topic, just talking off the cuff, just to see if our regular studio had been fixed according to the information that the engineers had given me. And
right.
so it apparently it is fixed because I did not get disconnected from being live yesterday. So
Okay.
moving forward, yay, we will be moving back to home
All
on
right, we're
tomorrow
comfortable with
night's show.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, on tomorrow night's show, Friday night for the rest of our shows.
Right.
And the title of that his
Album?
song is, yeah, is it in the beginning?
Yes, it is. It's in the beginning. It's very intriguing, actually. It
Hmm.
really draws you in. And he does produce a lot of his music. And if I remember correctly, I think he was even in Jamaica or something, doing something at
Oh,
one time. And it could have even been, with Jimi Hendrix producers. I can't remember now because it was like 3 years ago. Is that
oh,
Terry? Terry can tell us. I think his volume is working. Terry?
uh,
Am I here?
Yes, you're
yeah, you
there.
are. Hello.
I'm an official computer geek now.
Yeah,
Oh, you
okay. So you learned that tonight, huh?
So yes,
Congratulations.
Emily, nice to meet you.
Nice to
Hi,
meet you
Cece, nice
too.
to see you again.
you
Very
must
nice to meet you.
you must be flying around in those interplanetary crafts, Terry.
Well, John and I wrote that song 49 years ago, and they've yet to knock on my door.
Oh,
Oh,
really? Okay. I know a few I could send your way. I
wow.
don't know them by name.
Okay, yeah, and you're talking about aliens or
Yeah,
paranormal?
no, I'm talking about ETs. Yeah, I
Okay,
was actually had an experience about
Hello,
that.
Tim. I see you now.
Hey, how you doing, man? I had a little technical difficulties, but I'm here.
That's
Yay,
good.
Tim got
That's
his
good.
mic done. All right.
It's
Excellent.
all
I'm
coming
here in
together.
soul, if not body.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome. That's wonderful.
Well, you
Uh,
got the tea. You got the tea, Terry. So you're
Yeah,
cool.
that's good. I like that.
yeah, we
That's
got
the
two
best I've
T's.
looked all day.
And Tim's name begins with the T also. So we got the
Yeah.
two T's in the house.
Yep.
And we got
TNT.
C, we
Sure,
got
that's true.
C in the house. And we have a P in the house. Pearls. You can't beat
That's
that because they all rhyme.
Yeah.
hmm
Okay, Kathy, so let's begin our interview. Let you go ahead and begin interviewing Terry for us.
Okay. Well, it's my pleasure to introduce Terry Draper. And he was originally, like I said, from Klaatu, Klaatu. And how long were you with that band,
Uh,
Terry?
Throughout most of its life, I played with John and Dee in previous bands in the 60s and early 70s, and they dissolved. And then John and Dee got together and started Klaatu. And after doing a single and not being really satisfied with session drummers, they called me up and said, "Hey, can you give us a hand here?" So I joined a year later in '74. They started in '73, and we went till the end and dissolved it in 1982. So we put out 5 studio albums and did a bit of touring across Canada at the bitter end. But it was tough in the beginning. We didn't tour because there was just 3 of us, and the music is rather overproduced, and we were unable to replicate it without a symphony orchestra back in the day. And once the polyphonic synthesizer came along, it was possible, but we waited till the 11th hour. May have been too little, too late.
Oh, okay. I see. I see. And was your band compared to the Beatles or anything like it, or were you totally different?
No, actually, a lot of bands have been compared to the Beatles, but
hmm
we have the distinction of starting a rumor that we were in fact the Beatles recording under a new name. That
How?
rumor came out of Providence, Rhode Island in February 1977, and went around the world. And our first album had been out for 6 months. And the reason this happened is because we didn't put our names or our pictures on the record. All songs written by Klaatu, produced by Klaatu. That was it. And
Mm,
we did that because we wanted to let the music speak for itself. This is the mid '70s, and we're in the world of hype in pop music. Glam rock is hitting its stride. Disco music is out, and it's all about the hype of the day. It's all about the performers and the musicians and the artists, and the music is sort of secondary. So we wanted the people to forget about the 3 guys in the band or whatever and the personalities. Let's focus on the music.
well,
So,
did you ended up selling a lot more records, or how did that go? Because I saw you got a lot of streams with a Karen Carpenter song. That's for sure.
well, that's for sure. Yeah, it's you know what? I've always referred to it as the Damocles sword. What happened was that the Beatle rumor spurred this great interest in us around the world, and I think we sold a few million albums. But
Mm.
when the world found out that we weren't the Beatles and we were just 3 regular guys from Toronto who knew our shit, if I can say that, there was a serious backlash. The radio stopped playing our music. Capitol Records dropped us. There was just the fans didn't come to the shows. It was just we became a novelty act. Oh, were the guys that pretended they were the Beatles, and we never did that. We were victims of the rumor. In fact, Rolling Stone magazine called us the hype of the year in 1977. So it swung both ways. If the Beatle rumor hadn't happened, would we be talking?
Ah.
Who knows? But it did happen, and I have to live with the consequences. The fact remains is that we made some really good music, so good that people thought we were the Beatles. So
Mm.
that's good enough for me.
Hmm.
Wow. So go ahead, Emily. Go ahead.
Yeah. So did you guys never made any personal appearances? Am I understanding it correctly?
Only in Canada, but
Okay.
actually, before the first album was released, we we were on a TV show in Canada called Keith Hampshire's Music Machine, and played two songs. And if the internet had been alive back then,
Uh
the
huh.
Beatle rumor would have never happened because everyone could go look us up, and there's the videos of us on this TV show. They're out there now, of course, but back
Gotcha.
then, nobody knew us. It was Canada only, and there was a lot of people, including myself, who
Mm-hmm.
wanted to get the Beatles back together.
Mm-hmm.
So when the opportunity came along, a lot of people jumped on it.
Awesome. So, what zone did you have to go to in order to write an outer dimensional melody? Did you think about? Was it? I mean, what do you think about when you write mystical music? What do you think about?
I think about all kinds of things. Inspiration comes from the strangest places.
Mm-hmm.
But that song in particular, Calling Occupants of Interplanetary Craft, that the Carpenters recorded, John had found a book in the